now it's time for the much anticipated. We normally give this a little bit of its own kind of night here, but being that we have the round table, we've got to eliminate 4 drivers from the chase. Being that this is the first week of the chase, we're going to do a quick power rankings. I believe Taz has already got them set up. We'll argue it, we'll deny it, we'll try to come to some kind of conclusion, but I've looked at Taz's power rankings, and if I had to make up my own power rankings, once again, I feel like Taz probably got it as close to possible as what either Miss Lee or anybody. But that doesn't mean that we can't argue some things about it. So, Taz, if you'll hit up the old drum roll, we'll start the power rankings.
All right, so basically 16 teams. We rank them all 1 through 16. Last time we did this was back in around May, I do believe. So some things have changed. So ranking at number 16 has not moved from that spot is Live Fast Motorsports, BJ McLeod. Number 15 has not moved, which is Rick Ware Racing. Number 14 is Legacy Motor Club. A swap of positions, falling down 1 spot, is Wood Brothers. They're coming in.
Now, wait a minute.
And yes.
I mean, I thought the Wood Brothers were improving. Who did it?
I'm looking at. Sorry, hold on. Sorry, I was looking at the previous and accidentally read the wrong list.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Good.
All right. So actually, at number 13, they fell 1 spot is Spire Motorsports.
Yeah.
And then moving up to number 12 is Wood Brothers. So basically, from the last power rankings we did, they swapped spots. At number 11, this comes as a shock, and I know Chris was arguing this, but I have a good reasoning to back up why I put them where they are. At number 11, it is SHR, and they fell from number 8 to. They went from number 8 the last time we did power rankings to number 11.
And tell us the reason why, Ted. Tell us how the 2-car combo versus the 4-car and 3 of them sub combo makes it worse than the 2-car combo. Because obviously they are sitting right in front of Spire. They are behind Colleague Racing. Tell me why, Taz. Tell me why the 3 sucky cars are so bad that it brings SHR all the way down the list to number 11.
All right. So basically, Chris started off the top 10 list with Colleague Racing being number 10. So yes, they are number 10. Colleague was moved up 1 spot from previous power rankings. So the reason why Colleague sits at number 10 and SHR sits at number 11, and I know everybody's sitting here confused, like, well, SHR has a playoff team and Kevin Harvick. Colleague doesn't. Well, I'm here to argue my reasonings. While SHR, yes, they have a playoff car, and Colleague does not. Colleague, if you look at the owner standings, the 16 car that's piloted by A.J. Allmendinger sits higher than all 3 of the SH cars that did not make the playoffs in points. If you look at the 31 car of Justin Haley, he sits, even with his penalty, that I'm not sure, I'm pretty sure he got it I think the decision turned the other way eventually, blah, blah, blah. But anyways, either way, Justin Haley, the 31 car, he ranks higher than 2 of the non-playoff SHR cars, but sits 3 points behind the 3rd one. So I had to go with the gut of Colleague ranked higher than SHR.
Miss Lee, what do you think?
I can't disagree with that. just for the reasons that Kaz laid out. Kaulig, for the most part, has outperformed the SHR cars.
4 stage wins by Kevin Harvick. 4 stage wins. I don't know where they come from because I don't remember them, but that was the stats. 4 stage wins by Kevin Harvick. So, look, it's hard to argue it. SHR sucks. They suck really bad. Harvick and his experience and his will to drive a car, I think, is the only thing that's kept SHR alive. And unfortunately, when he's gone, I think SHR is in even more trouble. I can kind of remember what it was like. Right, I kind of remember what it was like when Carl Edwards was left at Roush Fenway Racing after Matt Kenseth left. And it was not the same organization, and I kind of feel like that's where SHR is headed. Hopefully, they get it turned around. Of course, it's taken RFK years. Took them only a couple of years to fall off. It's taken them 8 years to bring it back. So we'll see how that continues to go along. But you've already given us the 10th spot, Kaulig Racing. Now, tell us a little bit about the 31 car, because obviously we expected a little bit more out of A.J. Allmendinger this year. I think I had him predicted to be for sure in the chase. I don't know, what's happened at the other 6 road course races that we've gone to, but it just has not been A.J. Allmendinger's year. But all in all, the organization in itself has been a top 10 organization. Explain that for us real quick, Taz, before we go to number 9.
So Kaulig, I feel like, has been one of those under-the-radar teams. Obviously, when it comes to the road courses, we circle A.J. Allmendinger, right? And when we go to super speedway races, we circle Justin Haley. And while, yes, we look at those, outside of that, we don't look at them. And I feel like if you look at some of these teams that are performing at a lower level, and again, not trying to take anything away from Kaulig or knocking them down any, but with Kaulig, it seems like they've kind of flown under the radar where, nobody's talking about them. They're kind of like, all right, well, we'll just do what we do. Nobody's putting pressure on us. Nobody's talking about us. We'll just make a name for ourselves and do what we can and give the performances we know we can deliver. And obviously, as you guys have mentioned, Allmendinger, with these road courses, he's been up there. He's contended for a win or two in a couple of them. Obviously did not. We did expect Allmendinger to make the playoffs because he would get a road course win. Obviously this year he did not. But it seems like the 31 car, Justin Haley, if we remember back in the Clash, either last year or this year, he was a front-running car, which was like, holy crap, is Kaulig a force to be reckoned with? And he did the same thing at the Clash this year. And I don't, like I said, I don't remember if it was Justin Haley last year and then this year's A.J. Allmendinger, but either way, Kaulig made a name for themselves to start off the season. And we put the expectations up there, and when they don't deliver the expectations, we don't talk about them. And then they signed up. Like I said, they saw it as an opportunity of there's no pressure on us. Nobody's talking about us. Let's just do what we do and perform the best of our ability. We know we're not a top running team, but we know we can compete and run for obviously top 20s, but they can run up there for top 10s as well. We saw Justin Haley in the Chicago Street Course running up front, and nobody expected it.
And don't forget, AJ became a daddy, so he's a little distracted.
Does that sum things up for you, Chris?
Yeah, for sure. I need to turn the mute button off. Yeah, let's go to number 9, buddy.
All right, number 9 to follow with Kaulig Racing is Front Row Motorsports of McDowell and the shared ride of Gilliland and Zane Smith.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not going to argue this one bit. Where were they at originally? Because, of course, we're talking about a win here, and we've seen some strong running from Gilliland. I think something was off at Daytona for both of these cars. They just did not seem to be dialed in the way that we've seen them in the past. But where were they the last time we had power rankings?
Previously, they were at number 10, so they moved up one spot this time around.
They are up one. Okay. All right. Well, what about number 8? Who's at number 8?
Number 8, they moved up one spot as well, and that is RCR of Kyle Busch and Rhinestone Cowboy, Austin Dillon.
Talk about hot and cold. I mean, I was so worried that Busch was going to get him one win, and then they were just going to go stone cold sour for the rest of the year, and we weren't going to hear nothing else out of him, and Busch was just going to get bitchy as the season went on. Well, that's not what happened. They've gotten 3 race wins already this year, but they followed him up in each of those races, I think, with a 30-something place finish. I think that he has a total of 5 DNFs this year, only topped out by Larson, who has 6. So, it's just been an up and down season for RCR, but I can't even really recognize RCR as an organization. If you were talking about Kyle Busch, I think RCR would be sitting somewhere about 5th or 6th. But Rhinestone Cowboy sucks so damn bad that you have to camp him out somewhere and where, number 9? Or is this 8?
This is number 8.
That's funny because you would think that the addition of Kyle Busch would have had a little more positive impact on this team.
Right.
But you're right, and I laughed so loud, Chris, when you said that Austin sucks so bad that he's just dragged the team down.
And we're going to get to the next 2 teams we're going to get to, and I'll kind of list them off after we get done talking about RCR. Another organization has that same problem, too, that we have not mentioned yet, and we're going to get to that. And it
seems to me that the sucky drivers are sucking all the life out of some good drivers and their teams.
Exactly.
Well, and this goes back to look at the relationship between Brad and Chris Buescher versus how things have worked out between the Cowboy and Kyle Busch. We all know Kyle's got an ego, but when it comes to racing, I think he could be a very good mentor to the right mentee. And obviously, Austin is not the right mentee.
No. He's too busy. Too busy trying to find Kyle Larson to wreck him. So who's at number 7, Taz? Who's at number 7? I believe I'm going to know who's at number 7.
So
and this is going to be a shocker for most.
So I'm going to list off number 7 and number 6 at the same time here because we can go back and forth on this one all day. Number 7, and they were previously ranked at number 6, so they fell one, is Penske Racing, and at number 6, and they were previously ranked at number 7, is JTG Doherty Racing.
Jesus, how in the hell can you have JTG Doherty Racing ahead of a powerhouse team in the house of a former champion? Explain to me your madness, Taz Taylor.
So, I know this is madness, but the reason why I put the reason why JTG sits higher than Penske, and this really could go either way, but I put JTG up ahead because of the fact that with Penske, you look at Logano, you look at Blaney, you look at Cindric, and you sit there and say, well, that should be an easy top 5 team. Well, we just talked about how Austin Dillon drags the RCR teams down, even with the addition of Kyle Busch. You have Joey Logano and Ryan Blaney, who should be picking you up. Austin Cindric got a win last year, a rookie in the Daytona 500. You would think he would take that momentum and pick it up a notch this year. No. Austin Cindric has not been in any sort of winning picture at all this year.
Somebody threw out the anchor on that team.
Austin Cindric in the owner's points, his team ranks 22nd. Joey Logano this year has not had a spectacular year, and I'm not saying that he hasn't had a good season. I feel like he has, but it's not a season that you would expect from a defending series champion.
Right.
Right.
And in terms of Ryan Blaney, yes, he broke the winless streak. I'll give him that one. But in my honest opinion, he's had his typical Ryan Blaney season. He hasn't made the noise to be a race-winning guy week in, week out.
Exactly.
He's been that typical, I'll run consistent, I'll run where I finish, and that's about it. He hasn't made noise to be a race winner every single week.
Isn't that who Ryan Blaney is? I mean, has he ever was he a spectacular Truck Series driver? Did he light the world on fire in Xfinity? Has he ever lit the world on fire in Cup Series? Really, I think he's in one of the best seats in NASCAR. And I'll be honest with you, he stinks. And Penske needs to go. He needs to move on from it. Yeah, he's hanging on to him longer than he held on to David Strimmy. I really don't see the production behind Ryan Blaney. He does not. He's like the mini-me of Chase Elliott. He's the other protege.
And the other side of this argument was we have, and I mentioned JTG ranked one spot higher than Penske. And like I said, this could go either way, but I'm ranked them the way I did because JTG, while yes, they are a one-car team, I understand that, but that one-car team is not – hold on. The one-car team is, in points-wise, is competing with the top 2 Penske cars. Like, he's not far behind.
And he's by himself. So resources is everything. And I like that about Tad Taylor. He really understands that. Resources is everything. Ricky Stenhouse is more resourceful in an organization than the bad driving of Cindric, who keeps wrecking race cars, Ryan Blaney, who's underperforming, and Joey Logano, who's obviously just having an off year. I mean, there's been times where Joey Logano's name hasn't even gotten mentioned during the race, and we want to blame it on Ford, but here's RFK. They've done their work. Is it SHR? I don't know who to blame. But there's definitely, when you see a powerhouse team at number 7 behind the JTG, you can only, numbers don't lie. So let's go to number 5.
All right. So kicking off at number 5, for the first time in drivers' playoff history in the team's organization, this team has both of their cars in the playoffs, and that's 2311 Racing of Tyler Reddick and Bubba Wallace.
No big surprise there. The 2311 race team is definitely deserved. I believe it was who was in number 5 the last time, Taylor? Who was at that 5 spot? I know it wasn't 2311. I think they've improved at least the position or two. It was 2311.
It was 2311, right? The same spot.
Wow. Okay. Well, hey, it's paid off. They've had a decent year. I can't argue the 23XI being the fifth most powerful race team in NASCAR. I think that they've, solid, consistent finishes. I would like to see Reddick a little bit more part of the Toyota group. It seems like it's the JGR Toyotas and then Tyler Reddick. So if we can get Tyler Reddick mixed in with those JGR Toyotas and somewhere in the middle pack of that, I would feel more comfortable about where 23XI is.
And the plus side of this too, and the plus side with this team too, yes, Tyler Reddick locked into the drivers and owners playoffs, and nothing to take away from Bubba and the 23 team at all. But again, they found a way to make it into the playoffs. They went on the driver's side. Unfortunately, they fell just short of the owner side, but they were in contention for it, so they're not lacking anything over there. They're improving.
Right. All right, number four, Taz Taylor.
All right, number 4, and they fell 2 spots from last time. That is Trackhouse Racing. Ross Chastain and Daniel Suarez feel like they, and nothing to take away from Justin Marks and Daniel Suarez. I think Suarez just had an off year. I think last year was kind of like everyone's going to sleep on Trackhouse, and both Chastain and Suarez said, hey, you want to sleep on us? Fine. We'll prove you wrong, and they did. This year we put high expectations on them, and they didn't deliver.
Yeah, I think they've had like the worst run since the Chicago race. There was kind of back-to-back wins with Nashville and the Chicago race, but since then, holy crap, talk about throwing the anchor out. Ross Chastain just hasn't had the fire lit up underneath him. He's not getting into controversy, so obviously he's not fast. Daniel Suarez, he may be who he has been his whole career. There's probably only going to be a handful of races where Suarez is competitive. And with that, it brings the organization down. Daniel Suarez may not be as good as what we hoped his potential to be. He may be good at certain tracks, but for a powerhouse team to be powerhouse, for them to be constantly in that top 3, they've got to show that all teams are strong. And that's just not what's really going on right now at Trackhouse. I'm surprised that they haven't fallen a little bit further. I'm okay with them being in the 4th spot. Miss Lee?
Yeah, Ross seems to have definitely lost some steam. And I don't know if that's because he's been told to behave himself, to chill out, or what, but he definitely seems to have lost some steam. And as far as Mi Amigo goes, he's been having some mechanical issues. I don't know what all is going on. If they threw all their weight behind Ross because he was doing so good and kind of neglected Daniel or what, but there's definitely something going on there.
Number 3, Taz Taylor.
Number 3, and they moved up 1 spot from last previous power ranking, is Hendrick Motorsports. Obviously, Byron's having the breakout year he's getting. Kyle Larson, being Kyle Larson, I guess.
Are we
Bowman,
getting the full 100% of Kyle Larson? I feel like Kyle Larson's kind of laid down a little bit. And Bowman,
yeah,
I think Bowman's on his way back.
Yeah, I can see that definitely, and I feel like we haven't seen the full Cliff Daniels, Kyle Larson connection like we saw when Larson won the championship. To me, honestly, I know that year Larson was basically making a statement saying that, hey, I'm here pretty much. But at the same time, I felt like that combination of Cliff Daniels and Kyle Larson, and I don't really want to put them on that pedestal just yet because I want to see more improve that they are that kind of power duo, but I feel like it's like that Jeff Gordon-Evernham combination, that Jimmy Johnson-Knaus connection, just that right pairing of driver-crew chief that you know is going to work well and have as much success as they will have. And then I'm not saying it in terms of race wins. I mean, like, championships, too. Like, those two have it.
And Chase was having a really decent run. He, of course, coming off a second-place finish. Watkins Glen almost raced his way in. Chase hasn't had a terrible year. Chase has not had a great year. And Alex Bowman, as I said, I believe he's on his way back up. Hopefully they get it straightened out over there at the 48 team. But, man, that just shows how on fire Willie B's been. And Rudy Frugel, man, what a combination. I believe we are looking at the future. I've been waiting on it for a couple of years. I think I was about a year and a half early on William Byron's breakout party. But I see the potential there. And now we're seeing the fruits of it. Number 2, Taz Taylor.
Number 2, they fell one spot from last power rankings. They were number 1, and we have a new number 1 team this week, and we'll get to that in a minute. But number 2 is Joe Gibbs Racing, and three out of the four cars and teams into the playoffs. You can't knock them out. They rode the momentum train for as long as they could. And also, Ty Gibbs, obviously rookie season, and he made sure that he was somebody that you just couldn't sleep on. Yeah, he wasn't a race winner, but he was in the points picture.
Ty's had a very successful rookie campaign. Very successful. Been very impressed.
Yeah,
he's kept his head down and his mouth shut.
He has, and I think it was unreasonable for people to think that he would necessarily make the playoffs in his rookie season. I think since he had a talking to and he's settled down, he's proven that he could be a championship contender at some point. But I kind of thought maybe he would break through, but I'm not surprised that he didn't.
I mean, it's hard to say that somebody has flaws when you're ranked number 2, okay, organization-wise. But what has brought this team down is, unfortunately, the fall off of Christopher Bell. It's we've been surprised at the success of Ty Gibbs. I think we all kind of expected maybe a little bit worse off his rookie campaign the year before, where he's typically was somewhere in the mid-20s. He's definitely made improvement. But Christopher Bell has been the biggest disappointment, and that's a lot of potential right there. I thought at the beginning of the year he would be in the top 4 to talk about. That's not been the case in the second half of the season. Whether or not Bell is able to get that turned around, is something that, we'll have to see. Of course, they did make the chase, so there is a chance Bell does get it all turned around.
Don't forget, in a 4-car team like that, especially Joe Gibbs Racing, we all know there's going to be a redheaded stepchild there.
Yeah, it ain't going to be Ty Gibbs, is it?
Exactly.
So resources. I think that's what brings us to number 1, Taz Taylor. Shocker. I think the whole world is shocked. But when you put together 3 wins out of the last 5 races, I don't care where you come from. You could be in 13th for crying out loud. We judge this power rankings on what you're doing today. Right now, this team is the hottest team in NASCAR for the number one spot. Chaz Taylor.
Number one team, and they moved up 2 spots. They were previously number 3 from the last time. That's the 2-car tandem, as Chris basically hinted at you guys. That is RFK Racing.
Yeah, well, it's kind of process of elimination, Chaz. 3 wins out of the last 5 races. Not bad, not too shabby. It's all coming from one car, though, that does have me kind of concerned. If I had not been watching the races, I would definitely be scratching my head of why the 6th team seems to be the dragnet of the race team. Now, we can't say that because, of course, the 3rd win by Buescher come off the back of Keselowski as he continued to push him to a win instead of racing Buescher for maybe the win himself. So talk about sacrifices of a team owner. There you go. But no surprise, this has set themselves up great for a championship run. These wins will come in handy as they try to skirt through the first 2 rounds.